1962, amidst the height of Cold War tensions and the rise of rock and roll, Alcatraz stood as an impenetrable fortress in San Francisco Bay. Known as the Rock, it was the final stop for America's most incorrigible criminals. This maximum security prison was reputedly escape-proof, surrounded by treacherous, frigid waters and patrolled by vigilant guards. Yet, on the night of June 11, 1962, 3 men dared to challenge this notion. Frank Morris, with an IQ of 133, was not just any criminal. His life was a series of incarcerations and escapes, earning him a one-way ticket to Alcatraz in 1960. John and Clarence Anglin, brothers known for their swimming prowess, also ended up in Alcatraz after repeated escape attempts from other prisons. The Anglins arrived in 1960 and 1961, respectively. Alan West, another inmate with a history of car theft and escapes, was the 4th member of this conspiracy. The plan began to take shape in December 1961, when Morris, the Anglin brothers, and West were assigned adjacent cells. Morris, the undisputed leader, saw an opportunity in the prison's layout and the routine of its guards. For 6 painstaking months, Morris and his allies chipped away at the ventilation ducts beneath their sinks using makeshift tools, concealing their progress with painted cardboard and masking the noise with Morris's accordion during music hour. Their goal was to reach the unguarded utility corridor behind their cells, which led to a vacant top level of the cell block. Here, they set up a clandestine workshop, crafting life preservers from over 50 raincoats and assembling a 6-by-14-foot rubber raft. The seams of the raft were carefully stitched and sealed with heat from nearby steam pipes. They even fashioned paddles from scrap wood and screws, demonstrating their resourcefulness and determination. To cover their absence during these nocturnal activities, the men sculpted dummy heads from a mixture of soap, toothpaste, concrete dust, and toilet paper, giving them a lifelike appearance with paint and hair from the barbershop floor. These decoys, placed on their pillows with towels and clothing piled under the blankets, created the illusion that they were sleeping soundly in their cells. On the night of June 11, 1962, with all preparations in place, the men initiated their escape. West, however, encountered a problem. The cement he had used to reinforce the crumbling concrete around his vent had hardened, narrowing the opening and fixing the grill in place. By the time he managed to remove the grill and re-widen the hole, Morris and the Anglins had already left. West, realizing he was too late, returned to his cell, his dreams of freedom dashed. Morris and the Anglin brothers climbed the ventilation shaft to the roof, their hearts pounding with anticipation. The guards heard a loud crash as they broke out of the shaft, but the noise was dismissed as part of the usual prison clamor. The trio descended 50 feet to the ground using a kitchen vent pipe and then scaled 2 12-foot barbed wire perimeter fences. Under the cover of darkness, they reached the northeast shoreline, a blind spot in the prison's security network. There, they inflated their raft using a modified concertina and launched it into the cold, choppy waters of San Francisco Bay. Their destination was Angel Island, 2 miles to the north. As they paddled away, the fate of these 3 men became one of the greatest mysteries in the annals of American criminal history. At dawn on June 12, 1962, Alcatraz guards discovered a shocking scene. Dummy heads in the beds and empty cells. The escape was real. A massive manhunt unfolded, with helicopters, boats, and search teams scouring the bay. Yet, the fugitives had vanished without a trace. Over the following days, some clues surfaced. On June 14th, a Coast Guard cutter found a paddle floating near Angel Island. Workers on another boat discovered a wallet wrapped in plastic containing names, addresses, and photos of the Anglin's friends and relatives. Shreds of raincoat material, believed to be remnants of the raft, were found on a beach near the Golden Gate Bridge. Yet, no definitive evidence of the men's fate emerged. The FBI concluded that the men had likely drowned in the frigid waters before reaching the mainland. However, the U.S. Marshal Service kept the case open, and Morris and the Anglin brothers remained on their wanted list. Over the years, numerous theories and reported sightings fueled speculation about their survival, but none could be conclusively proven. The legend of the Alcatraz escape endures, a testament to the ingenuity and audacity of those who dared to defy the rock. As the search continued, clues began to emerge. On June 14th, a Coast Guard cutter found a paddle floating near Angel Island, about 2 miles from Alcatraz. This discovery suggested that the men had indeed made it to the water. Workers on another boat found a wallet wrapped in plastic containing names, addresses, and photos of the Anglin's friends and relatives. This find raised more questions than it answered. Had the men reached land, or had their belongings been carried by the currents? The investigation intensified. The FBI, led by Special Agent in Charge Richard G. Held, took command. Held was a seasoned investigator, known for his meticulous attention to detail and dogged determination. He was determined to uncover the truth, no matter where it led. Held and his team began by interviewing the inmates who had been close to Morris and the Anglins. They hoped to uncover any details that might have been overlooked. The inmates, however, were tight-lipped. Whether out of loyalty or fear of retribution, they offered little information. The investigators turned their attention to the guards, scrutinizing their routines and any lapses in security that might have facilitated the escape. Meanwhile, the media frenzy surrounding the escape grew. Reporters from across the country descended on San Francisco, eager to cover the story. The escape from Alcatraz captured the public's imagination, and theories about the men's fate ran rampant. Some believed they had drowned in the frigid waters of the bay, while others speculated that they had been picked up by a waiting boat and spirited away to freedom. As the days turned into weeks, the investigation faced numerous challenges. The treacherous currents of the bay made it difficult to determine the men's likely route. The water temperature, which hovered around 50 degrees Fahrenheit, posed a significant risk of hypothermia. Yet, the Anglin brothers were known for their swimming abilities, and Morris's intelligence suggested that the plan had been meticulously thought out. The investigation was further complicated by the discovery of conflicting evidence. On June 21st, shreds of raincoat material, believed to be remnants of the raft, were found on a beach near the Golden Gate Bridge. The following day, a prison boat picked up a deflated life jacket made from the same material, just 50 yards off Alcatraz Island. These finds suggested that the raft had broken apart, but they did not provide definitive proof of the men's fate. Held's team also faced the challenge of red herrings and false leads. In January 1965, the FBI investigated a rumor that Clarence Anglin was living in Brazil. Agents were dispatched to South America, but no direct evidence of his presence was found. A man called the Bureau in 1967, claiming to have been Morris's classmate and to have known him for 30 years. He said he had bumped into him in Maryland and described him as having a small beard and mustache, but refused to give further details. Amidst the uncertainty, the investigators delved into the personal lives of the escapees. They interviewed the Anglin family, who occasionally received postcards and messages over the years. Most were unsigned. One was signed Jerry, and another Jerry and Joe. The family also produced a Christmas card, purportedly received in the family mailbox in 1962, saying, "To Mother, from John. Merry Christmas." Another of the Anglin's 11 siblings, Robert, also said that sometimes the phone would ring, and all that could be heard was breathing on the other end. The mother of the Anglin brothers received flowers anonymously every Mother's Day until her death in 1973. Two very tall, unusual women in heavy makeup were reported to have attended her funeral. Federal officials noted that in the mid to late 1960s and into the 1970s, there were 6 or 7 sightings reported of the Anglin brothers, all in North Florida or Georgia. Robert said that in 1989, when the father of the Anglin brothers died, 2 strangers with beards showed up at the funeral home. According to Robert, they stood in front of the casket looking at the body for a few minutes. They wept, then they walked out. These accounts, though intriguing, provided no concrete evidence. The investigators were left to piece together the puzzle from the scant clues available. Theories abounded, from the plausible to the far-fetched. Some believed that the men had perished in the bay, their bodies carried out to sea by the strong currents. Others speculated that they had reached the mainland, changed their identities, and started new lives. As the investigation dragged on, the pressure mounted. The public demanded answers, and the FBI was determined to provide them. Held's team continued to follow every lead, no matter how tenuous. They interviewed witnesses, re-examined evidence, and conducted exhaustive searches of the bay and surrounding areas. Despite their efforts, the mystery of the Alcatraz escape remained unsolved. The case was officially closed in 1979, with the FBI concluding that the men had likely drowned. However, the U.S. Marshal Service kept the case open, and Morris and the Anglin brothers remained on their wanted list. The legend of the escape lived on, a testament to the ingenuity and determination of the men who dared to challenge the fortress of Alcatraz. In the years that followed, the story of the Alcatraz escape continued to captivate the public. Books, movies, and documentaries kept the legend alive, each offering their own interpretation of the events. The mystery of whether Morris and the Anglins made it to freedom or perished in the attempt remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in American criminal history. The allure of the daring escape, the ingenuity of the plan, and the enduring question of their fate ensure that the story of the Alcatraz escape will continue to intrigue and inspire for generations to come.